Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this mini crochet plant hanger. So let's get straight into it. So for the materials, I'm going to be using two different acrylic yarns. This one is for the pot and it requires a 4mm hook. And then this is what I'm using for the vines. It's just like a nice green. It's similar to the other one. And then I'm using a 4mm hook and some yarn needles and some scissors, and then I've also got some stuffing that I'm going to be using to stuff the pot, and it's only about a handful of that. So we're going to start off with a magic circle. I'm going to put my yarn over my 3 bottom fingers with the end facing up, then wrap it under my pointer finger, over my middle finger, and then over it again so it makes an X, and then just hold it down with my thumb. And I'm going to get my hook and go through that first loop and then scoop and do a chain to secure the circle. And then next thing I'm going to do is chain 2, which will count as our first double crochet. Next I'm going to make a double crochet into the circle, so I'm going to yarn over, put my hook through the circle, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, and then pull through the second 2. So I'm going to do 11 double crochets, and then that first chain 2 is going to count as our first double crochet, so there's going to be 12 in total. I'm just going to continue doing these double crochets and I'll come back when I'm finished. So I finished my 12 double crochets, and now I'm going to pull that end to tighten the circle. Then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the third chain from the beginning chains to end this round. Next I'm going to chain 3 and then do a double crochet into the same stitch. So what we're going to do is do 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around, so we should have 24 stitches in total. And I'll meet you back when I finish this round. So I finished this round, and what I'm going to do is just do a slip stitch into the third chain to end the round. Now I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to not work into that same stitch. I'm going to work into the next stitch, and I'm just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch in this round. And this is going to start creating that curve of the pot. So we just did the base, and now we're working on the body of the pot. And again, we're just going to do a slip stitch into the third chain to finish the round, and that's what we're going to be doing every single round. So what we're going to be doing now is just repeating the previous row, so chaining 3 to start and just working 1 double crochet into each stitch, and we're going to do 3 rounds of this, so there's 4 rounds in total of the body. To fasten off the last round, just chain 1 and pull through a long loop and then cut the yarn. So now I'm just going to flip my pot inside out, so I've got the good side of the stitches facing out, and then the ends will just be shoved inside, so when we put the stuffing in there we won't have to weave them in. To make the plant vines, we're going to start with a slip knot. Then we're going to put our hook into the slip knot and pull it tight, and then we're going to chain 3. Then we're going to yarn over and then insert our hook into the second chain, so skipping that first chain and then putting our hook through the second chain. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over again, and then insert our hook into the same chain. We should have 5 loops on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops, chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain. So now what I'm going to do is turn my puff stitch to the left so it's facing the back, And then I'm going to chain anywhere from 4 to 7. I did 5 chains here. And then what I'm going to do is yarn over, skip the first chain and go into the second chain. Then I'm going to pull up a loop, so I've got 3, yarn over again, pull up a loop, so I have 5 loops, and then I'm going to pull through all 5, chain 1, and then slip stitch into the next chain. And then I'm just going to repeat that again, so I'm going to turn my puff stitch to the back on the left side. Then I'm going to chain any number from 4 to 7. I ended up doing 4 here, and then just repeating the same process of making the puff stitches. I like to usually follow the pattern of just doing like 5 chains between them, and then 6, and then back to 4, and then back to 7, just so it's random and it looks more natural, but you can play around and see what works for you. So you can't really see very well here, but I did 8 inches. It's just cut out the bottom section, but I did 8 inches for this first vine, and we're going to make 4 vines. 2 of them will be 8 inches, and then 2 of them will be 10 inches. So to end this vine, what I'm going to do is just chain 1 and pull through a long loop. And you want about 8 inches of the end so we can use it to put into the pot later. And then you're just going to cut your yarn and then take out the other piece of yarn. So that is your first vine, and I will meet you back when I finish making my other 3. So this is what the vines should look like now. I've got 2 10-inch on the left and then 2 of the 8-inch on the right. And now we're going to work on the top of the pot and the hanging straps. I'm just going to use the same colour I used for the pot, and I'm going to start with a magic circle like we did earlier. If you want to go back and look at how I did it before, you can. We're just going to pull through and chain 3. And then we're going to do 11 more double crochets into the magic circle. So we have 12 in total because the chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And then to end the round, we're just going to do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Then we're going to chain 3 and put a double crochet into the same stitch. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets into every stitch on this round. And we're going to end this round by doing a slip stitch into the 3rd chain again. Now we're going to make the hangers for the pot, and we're going to chain 30. And to finish the chains, we're just going to pull it tight and then pull through a long loop. You want to leave this loop quite long because we're going to use that to tie the top of the hanger together. So you want to leave like 10 inches. Don't really worry about measuring it too much, just make sure it's long and they're all a similar length. Now what we're going to do is make a slip knot. So since we have 24 stitches on this round, we're going to make our straps 6 stitches apart because we're going to have 4 of them. So count 6 stitches from your previous hanger strap and then put your hook through that stitch, and then just connect the slip knot on, pull through, and then chain 30. So just continue this process of counting 6 stitches from your previous hanger until you have 4 in total. So now we have our 4 hangers. Next we're going to grab our vines and we're going to pull them all so they're even, just like I'm doing there. Now we're going to grab the top of the pot and we're going to go from underneath and put our hook through the center hole, or where the magic circle was. Then we're going to wrap our vine ends over the hook and then pull them through the hole. Don't stress if you don't get all of them in the first pull. You can put your hook back through and then pull the other parts through that you missed before. Now what I like to do is just make sure all of them are in the hole properly, so I just pull all the strings individually to make sure none of them are too far out of the pot. And then I'm just going to wrap the ends over my 2 fingers and then create a knot. And I'm just going to do 2 knots because I want it to be extra secure. So I'm just doing my second knot and then just pushing it down so it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to cut the end off, leaving like 1 or 2 inches. It doesn't really matter how much, but just cut majority of it off. And now I'm just going to stuff my pot with some stuffing. Just kind of eye it off here. It doesn't matter too much how much you put in there, just as long as it's nice and full, but also not overflowing. And that's how it should be looking now. And now I'm just getting the color I use for my pot and cutting it. This piece is going to be used to connect the top of the pot to the base of the pot, and it should be around 15 inches. Now I'm going to get my yarn needle out and thread my yarn onto the needle. Now I'm just going to place the top of my pot onto the base of the pot and just line it up so it's nice and even. And what I'm going to do is just shove all the ends that I used to make the hangers inside the pot. And I'm first going to start by putting my needle through the stitch we did the hanger. And then I'm going to put it through the inner side of this other stitch, so not through both of them, just through the first loop. And I'm just going to tie a knot to secure it. Then I'm going to go back through and go into that second stitch so it's on the inner side, and then go through the same inner side stitch on the other side. So that's what I'm going to be doing the whole way around this pot. And as you can see, I'm just putting my needle through the inner stitch, and I'll go back the other way so you can see how I do it again. So going through that inner side and then putting my needle through the other inner side and then just pulling it through. And then I'm just going to go back and forth all the way around. And then when I get to one of the hanger straps, I'm going to put my hook through that stitch. I'm just going to continue doing this the whole way around the pot, and I'll meet you back at the end. So I'm coming up to my last stitch now, and I'm just going to pull that through, and then I'm just going to tie a knot with those 2 pieces of yarn. And now I'm going to weave in the end, so I'm just going to put my yarn through my needle, and then I'm just going to push my hook into any section and then push it out the other side and then pull through. Just make sure you don't pull it too tight because it can change the shape of the pot. So just make sure you pull the pot apart so it can go back to its original shape, like I'm just doing there. And we are almost done. We just have to weave in the ends for the vines. So what I'm going to do is just thread my needle. And these are really easy because you can literally just put them through any point, and it doesn't change the shape of the puff stitch or anything. So I just go 2 to 3 directions with this. I'm going to do the exact same and weave in all my other ends, and I'll meet you back when I'm finished. Now I'm just going to tie all the hanger pieces together, so I'm just grabbing them all up in a bunch. And then I'm just going to pull on the pot to make sure they're even. And once I have them in an even position, what I'm going to do is wrap the pieces around my 2 fingers. Make sure it's nice and tight, and you want to wrap it quite close to where the chain ends. So I'm just making a knot and then pulling up quite a big loop just so we can put it on a hook or something. And then you can just cut your yarn wherever you want to. If you want to put it on a bigger spot, you can leave a bigger hoop, but if you don't care, you can just cut it whatever length you want. Now I'm just moving the vines around to put them in the place that I want them to go, but yeah, you can play around with how you want yours to look. And yeah, so that's pretty much my tutorial. I will show you how I'm going to use mine. So this is what I'm going to do with my pot plant hanger. This is so cute and I love using it as a little rear view mirror accessory. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment on what you want to see next and leave a like if you enjoyed my video. Thank you.